Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Spring Break Powder Twin. This board features Spring Break's Surf Camber Twin, so that's camber into flat into an elongated rocker in the tip and the tail. Basically you're going to get all the power, snap, and drive from that camber section, but you're going to get more optimal powder float with what's going on in the nose and the tail of this board. This board's available in 153, 156, 159, and 162. I rode this board at Copper Mountain midday. There was powder, bluebird skies, cooler temps, chopped chunder, little bit of perfect corduroy on the groomers, basically middle of the season powder day conditions, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. The overall flex of this board comes in just a hair past middle of the road. Not by much, but it is noticeably a little bit stiffer. A lot of that is due in part to the width of this board. I mean, it's wide. With it being a twin, you do get softer flex, and with that rocker into flat, obviously you're gonna get a lot more out there because you're gonna be able to roll back and forth. And then it's stiffer through the camber section in the middle. The torsional flex is very rigid. A lot of that is due in part to the width once again, which that width actually adds to the stability of this board. If you wanted a board that you could just cruise on and not really worry too much, this is it. Yeah, you got that rocker in the nose. You might get a little bit of cheddar. Most of that is killed off before you feel it underfoot. And when you slam into harder stuff that's buried underneath, the nose is gonna flex back, and then that camber section is gonna push hard and go up on top of it. This board basically skips over everything. You don't really have to worry about getting bucked. The nice thing about this board is that you get skate-like pop. Sure, you got camber and people will be like, oh, you gotta load it up to engage it. No. This is a powder twin with a flat into a rocker section in the tail. You're basically gonna roll back and it's gonna pop. It's not the snappiest board out there, but it porpoises nice through deeper snow. So you're gonna be able to just launch, the tip's gonna dip below, lean back, roll, pop, and pop right back out of it. You wanna send a side hit, you don't have to worry about it. Overall, the snap, it's there, it's not the poppiest, but it gets the job done. So with that wider platform, rocker in the tips, you can butter this thing. Now you could just roll back on the tail and do a high-speed pow wheelie if you really want to and be like, woo, look at me. Personally, I like to pop a 180, land in that nose, press into it, feel it flex, then snap out, do another 180, land, and go on my way. And this thing is like a spatula. You got so much to work with there between the rocker, the flex point, right where that flat meets the camber, as well as the width of this board. If you know how to butter, you're gonna have a field day with this thing in POW. If you don't, you're still gonna have a field day with this thing in POW. When it comes to carving, it takes a little bit more effort to get this board on edge. It's still fluid, so it's not sluggish by any means. It just takes more because, well, obviously it's a wider board. I mean, if you have like a size 8 or smaller foot, you might have some issues with it. But for those of us with the American average foot of a 10, totally gonna be fine. So with that said, it rolls from edge to edge fluidly, just with a little bit more effort. Short, tight, quick carves, they're okay. You really wanna give this thing some room though, because it's like two boards in one. When you're on a groomer and you're turning with this thing, you gotta give it some space. It just sort of swoops in and out of turns. It really likes to just do those long, wide carves. Now, if you want to crank it over, rail a really deep, hard, aggressive carve, you can do it. It will not be fun. I'm going to tell you that right now. And you're going to put in way more effort than you absolutely need to with this thing. Basically, keep it to short, tight, quick carves or swoopy ones as you're just cutting around the resort, going from groomer back to finding a nice, deep pow patch. Who's this board for? The twin-loving powder guy. I've ridden this board before, nothing's changed. It still rides like two different boards on a groomer. It's a Cadillac Eldorado. You gotta give it space so it can swoop those turns. But when it gets into POW, it's a lot more nimble and playful. It floats exceptionally well due to the width, and that camber profile doesn't fight you at all. It's designed to actually optimize powder riding. Overall, if you're a big-footed rider that likes a twin board for POW, this is a great option. Comparable boards, the Marhar Lumberjack, the Amplid Dada, the Ride Warpig. Binding recommendations, the Union Force, the Bent Metal Action, the Ride C6. This has been my review of the Spring Break Powder Twin. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you gonna buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here, you wanna support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.